In the previous tutorial, we learned how to put data from a table into a chart and making it even interactive. In this new tutorial, Optimal Data Visualization, we will learn how to add more information of a data table into a chart and making it meaningful because, for example, every color represents one continent and the size of each point depends on the population of each country. So let's get started from the beginning. We import the Gapminder data table, we use the pandas library and the function readExcel. Gapminder, we execute, we save it into a variable, df countries, and because we want to create interactive plots, we import the plotly library, and now we want a scatter plots, a chart of points, where the x-axis represents the GDP per cap, which stands for the gross domestic product per capita. In other words, the money that each person generated on average. We have the data in df countries, so the first parameter that this function is asking is data frame, so data frame equals to the df countries. The following parameter is the x and the y, so x equals to the GDP per cap and the y equals to the life expectancy. We execute, and here we can see that as the countries generate more money, the life expectancy tends to be higher, but we don't know too much about each point. So let's add some parameters to analyze this chart better. First, we will change the color based on the continent. So the parameter that we see here, color, equals to the column continent. We execute, and here we see that countries from 40 to 60 in life expectancy are green from Africa, and here at the top right we see countries from Asia, Europe and America. Let's add more information, the parameter of the size, where we can pass the column that represents the population. And here we see how some countries are really big because of the population. These two big bubbles are from Asia, and here we have one from America. We may guess which countries they are, but we'd better add the information of the country in the hover name. So the parameter hover, we pass the country. We execute, and now we see that those two big bubbles were China and India, and this other point was the United States. With this optimal data representation, we can do some data analysis. For example, which observation represents the biggest point? In this case, China is 1.3 in the population and India is 1.1. So the answer is China. Now, which point is the farthest in the x-axis? We see here a big one, United States, but if we put the mouse a bit further, we can see that is Norway. So, Norway. Now, which point is the farthest in the y-axis? We go to the plot, and here we can see that this point is Japan. In conclusion, from this tutorial we have learned how to create a meaningful chart from a data table that contains many columns and how to observe the most significant information. Now it's time for you to practice. We have prepared some exercises, 3C, where you need to use the same functions and parameters, but with another dataset. In this case, every row represents one car, and you have information for the weight, the horsepower, the cylinders and miles per gallon. So open the notebook in your computer and put in the work.